Have you ever heard of Talkspace? Talkspace is kind of like BetterHelp. It's a space where you can go and get therapy, and everyone usually talks so great about it and how delightful it is. But did you know that Talkspace just got bought by UHS? That's an insurance company. We're going to have a conversation about why this therapist thinks that's the worst thing that happened this year. Well, one of, right after we get back from this intro. And welcome back to another episode of the Daily Donna with me, your host, Dr. Donna Oriowo, sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area, author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, a Black woman's guide to unlearning the BS and healing self-esteem. This is some BS, y'all. Let's talk about the what is. What has happened is that Talkspace, one of the giants in the field as far as offering therapy from a tech through like tech company type thing, in many ways like BetterHelp, they've been purchased for $837 million by UHS, which is an insurance company. Why is this horrible, abhorrent? Why am I talking about it? I'm talking about it because this is like one of the worst things to have happened this year. UHS, an insurance company owning a mental tech company, which provides therapy for the people, is about as bad as it gets. It lets you know that capitalism really is all about that money and never about anybody else. You don't want insurance companies owning hospitals. Let's talk about why we don't want that. We don't want them owning hospitals because it's a conflict of interest, right? We don't want them owning hospitals because the people who make their money by denying your claims now have your life in their hands with full reign to deny your claim while you are at their hospital. They are able to create a monopoly where you are not able to go see an independent provider because you need to be seeing someone indoors, inside their system. And if you see someone outside the system, they're not going to cover it. You're going to pay more money, da 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 da. Which basically means that you end up paying for insurance and then you end up paying for care from somewhere else because your insurance company is going to deny you so that they can line their pockets with more money. And I'm not just talking about more regular money, right? Because I think that sometimes we don't have the full understanding of what it means when someone says they have profits in the billions or profits in the high millions. We don't understand. I don't think the average person all the way understands profits, right? If you don't own a business, you may not have the full understanding of what a profit is. This is not me calling you stupid. This is me saying that sometimes we don't know what we don't know until we know. So let's put you in the know, okay? Profit means that after all the bills are paid, it means that after you pay for every overhead system, the building you're in, after you pay for the cars or the Uber rides, after you pay the staff, after you've paid yourself, after you've paid your taxes, when all the bills are paid, you still have money left over. This is why when someone says there are billions of dollars in profits, after that CEO has already been paid, after all the workers have been paid, after the machinery has been fixed and all the things have been paid for, after when they still have profits, particularly profits in the billions, but they have employees that they've paid minimum wage at best, people who can't afford to live off their meager money, when they report these profits in the billions that they're only going to then divide among the CEOs who already have received their base salaries. And if you just go take a look at some of their base salaries, right? Like they don't have it's not small chump change base salaries. We're talking about 6 and 7 figure base salaries. Not talking about their bonuses, but then they get an additional bonus when there is a profit, which means they're disincentivized from paying the people at the bottom, number one. But it also means that keeping the company running in such a way where it is exploitative to the very people who work there and to the consumers who buy there is part of the point. Which means that when your insurance company, which has denied you your $75 medication, when your insurance company who has denied, who does not see the medical necessity of your therapy, your therapy appointments, when they don't see the medical necessity of this doctor's appointment, when they don't pay for fully for your teeth, when they don't fully pay for that surgery that you need, when they won't pay for these things, they took the money that they denied you, got added to a big bucket, and they get to say record breaking profit in this quarter. Yay, us. Look at us. We're trimming the fat. The fat is your medication. The fat is you. The fat is what helps you live. So they got more money while you didn't get what you needed so that you could survive. I'm saying this as somebody with folks in my life with chronic illness whose medications cost what they cost. And insurance companies can deny it. And when I see that an insurance company has bought a mental health tech company, I get worried. I get worried because $837 million paid is almost, number one, it's uncomfortably close to a billy, right? It's uncomfortably close. But this is the equivalent of an insurance company owning a mental health hospital. If we think of all of these areas where people go online, your Almas, your what is it? Alma, Talkspace, BetterHelp, and whichever other ones there are outside. If you thought of each of these, including the smaller ones, as hospitals, and then you hear that your smaller one got purchased by a slightly larger one, so it went to a Talkspace or it went to a BetterHelp or it got bought by this other thing, right? And they bring together their resources and it sounds so good. It's like, yeah, it sounds good right now until they get purchased by the insurance company, right? Because a lot of these tech giants are trying to forge great relationships with insurance companies so that they can promise you cheap mental health while they underpay the therapist who would have done it anyway. That's the point. That's the part that really gets me, right? So you work as a therapist on the therapist side of things. I could work for a Talkspace, and let's be clear, I have, right? I worked for a Talkspace for a while and I left. Part of the reason that I left is because I didn't think that it was great for my clients mentally, emotionally. I also didn't think it was good for my licensure. I was just like, I don't know about some of these things, right? I feel like it puts you in a morally gray area. And one of the things for me is, and again, I don't know how BetterHelp works. So I'm not saying BetterHelp, but I am saying Talkspace. I am saying for some of the ones that I know, yes, you get to see your therapist. That's awesome. It's amazing. It's at a price that you can afford. Oof, that's awesome. That's amazing. They're technically the Amazon of the mental health space. So I understand. You go to the thing that gets it to you quicker and that is way cheaper than if you went directly to the person that does it. And because your therapist is on that space where they can control their schedule, if they work there 100% and they want to be paid anything close to a livable wage, they probably saw 40 people this week. To me, that means they did not give you good therapy because maybe when you're young in the field and you are, if you rotate it out like pizza, it's easy, right? Right? Like operate like a machine. You can do it. However, therapy is more of an artisan craft. You can't do 40 and not lose effectiveness, not lose the energy, the thing that makes it still good. So the first person that week probably got something great. The last person that week probably got something okay-ish, right? That's when you get those therapists that fall asleep in session. You get those therapists who are overworked, who may be a little bit more frustrated, a little less imaginative, who are not necessarily doing anything that works for you. They're doing the thing that works for everybody because they don't have the time to necessarily make your stuff extra special. Not a problem. Again, I am not personally threatened because I am not in competition with a Talkspace. I am not in competition with a BetterHelp. They don't do what I do. And that's perfectly okay. There is room in this arena, as it were, for us all. My concern is where an insurance company owns a mental health hospital, where they can now further underpay the therapists who work there, the ones who are told that they are independent contractors, which means they don't actually have to get the benefits that working full time for something like that is. It's like you're your own business working for this business, but now it's your business is owned by an insurance company that can deny people's claims, which means they get to double dip. They get to collect the money from the subscription you purchased with your Talkspace and basically say what will they will and will not do. So really they take the money that they're saving from the therapist, which means now the therapist has to be seeing close to 40 people a week for them to be getting paid decently for the work that they do, for what their calling is, for what the degrees are in. And that's scary to me, especially the part with the tech, because I think I forgot about the part with the tech, right? Part of the tech is that a lot of this stuff is also recording the best answers based off your diagnoses, right? It's the AI part. It's how can this thing respond similarly to how a therapist would respond, right? It's the I'm going to match you with the person with the best modality, which may not actually be the person that you need to see, right? Because everybody doesn't have an interstate compact license, which means they can't see you if you are in another state. But sometimes these things don't let you know that information. They just kind of do whatever they do because it's all about maximizing the profits for them. Again, maybe that's not a biggie deal on a ratty skit. That's fine. That's fine. I think the other piece is this: from a purely therapeutic standpoint, the one thing I don't like about tech these tech corporations is that some of them, I'm not saying all, I'm talking about my experience and the experiences of other therapists that I know who have also been in these spaces. They give you additional when you respond to people's messages in a timely manner. Timely manner, which means it teaches people to be dependent on their therapist. The point of therapy is not for you to become dependent on your therapist. It's so that y'all work together toward an end goal, which means your ability to text your therapist at all times of day and night, the asynchronous therapy that they are expected to offer you by way of a message, is the exact opposite of what it's supposed to be. Part of the break, the time away from therapy, is about teaching you to utilize the skills that you have learned, to build up the community of people who get to love you up close. Not so that you can message your therapist at all times of the day and night and receive care, like care, right? At various times of the day and night. So, yeah, I worry about this. I worry about the number of therapists who are already burning out of this field. I worry about the number of people who have not necessarily been properly trained to even be in this field. And I'm worried that more will topple like dominoes because really, we know how it goes. One falls and the rest fall. They start falling one at a time to insurance companies who want nothing more than to have the mental health hospitals on lock, while therapists send letters to insurance companies to be paid more and then are not. I took Blue Cross. Blue Cross is considered one of the best. It's the easiest to work with. They give you the least amount of problems, and yet still problems. They say all insurance companies have a timeline in which they say they will pay you. Sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. If they deem something that you have done is not medically necessary, they will do a clawback. There are risks when a therapist chooses to take insurance. Not only will they not be necessarily getting paid well, but they are also risking them taking the money back, a delay in payment, a denial of the claim altogether. And from what I hear, a bunch of my fellow therapists, we do not go back to the client to go and get the money that your insurance company denied. We just sort of eat the loss, which means you got the therapy for whatever the copay was. So if your copay was $10, that's how much money your therapist made, $10 for that hour of therapy that you received. That's part of the reason why I no longer take insurance. I couldn't financially keep up with them being able to say no. You do what you can in the way that you can, but it wasn't sustainable in the long run for me to continue to take insurance. I mean, it's why a lot of therapists actually offer a sliding scale, because better for me to take a sliding scale and know exactly what I'm getting right from the jump and know that I'm getting paid on time than it would be for me to go through insurance and get less than maybe I even would for a sliding scale, while not being sure that the claim won't be denied. Right? It's a lot. And I know that to me right now, it seems like therapists for many people are the villains in a lot of these spaces. And I'm just like, well, the real villain is actually the insurance company that doesn't want to pay the therapist to take the insurance. If they paid us better, you don't think that many of us would actually take insurance? We would have no problem with it. But they're not keeping up with the cost of doing business, not when they're also more interested in making sure they maintain billions of dollars in profits. When an insurance company denies you your surgery or denies that claim or denies that whatever, they're not just denying you, they're also denying us as a provider, because this country in many ways does not see mental health as being all that dang important. So when I see the news that Talkspace was purchased for 837 million, or that they've struck a deal, an apparent deal, or however, whatever language they use to describe it, with UHS insurance, I get worried. I get worried because they essentially own a mental health hospital. It's an insurance owning a mental health hospital, and insurance companies are clearly disincentivized from making sure that the people get what they actually need in honor of the profits that they really just want. Because $1 million, why would I be satisfied with an extra $1 million when I could have a billion? So yeah, I am worried. Are you? That is it for today's episode of the Daily Donna. Really, I'm tired. I ain't even had it in me today, but I still showed up. And that's the point. To show up every day. Sometimes what comes out of your mouth is the great stuff, and sometimes it's not so much, which means if there's something that you want me to be talking about, why don't you go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'll see what I can do. All right, y'all. Bees knees. I'll see you in tomorrow, because this is the Daily Donna.